What's up, guys? Welcome back. Hope everybody had a good spring break. We are going to skip the warm-up today, so don't worry about that. I will pass out new warm-up sheets tomorrow, and I'll also have a new seating chart tomorrow. So for now, just stay in your old seats. So basically, there's a little part of the geometry unit that we didn't have time to finish before spring break because there was so much we had to cover with all the 7th grade stuff included. So we have a little bit of geometry left to cover, which involves triangles. So we're going to be looking at the angle measures of triangles, the side lengths of triangles, and the relationship between the angles and the sides. So basically there's 3 lessons that we have to cover. And then on Thursday, we'll review all of that, and then you'll have a little quiz at the end of class. And then on Friday, we will move on to our next unit, which is called data analysis. So today we are going to look at the angle measures in a triangle. And I'm going to show you a little animation. There's no sound on this, just a quick little visual. So if you look at a triangle, you have 3 angles, angle A, angle B, and angle C. If you were to take those 3 angles and line them up, see how they're going to make a flat line? A flat line is 180 degrees. I'll go back to that. So any possible triangle you can think of, it could be a triangle like that, it could be an obtuse triangle or a right triangle. Any triangle has angles that will line up perfectly to make 180 degrees. So that's one thing we're really going to focus on today, is the angles of a triangle and finding missing angle measures in a triangle. So let's get started with the notes. There's a few vocabulary words you probably remember from elementary school. There are 3 types of angles. The first one is an angle that's less than 90 degrees, which is acute. Sorry, my handwriting is not going to be the best. I'm trying to write on the screen. So an acute angle measures less than 90 degrees. An obtuse angle is greater than 90. Obtuse. And a right angle is exactly 90 degrees. So whenever you see that little square in the corner of the angle, right there, that is a right angle. Alright, so since we're going to be talking about a lot of different angles, you also need to know how to name them using letters. So like, if I'm looking at this triangle, it's triangle ABC. So we're going to use those letters depending on which angle we're talking about. So angle A, which is the right angle up here, you can just say angle A. That's what I would say. The little angle symbol and an A. But that's kind of like the nickname for the angle. If you are writing the full name, you could either say angle CAB, or you could say it backwards. You could say angle BAC. Let me show you what I mean by that. So basically, if you go from C to A to B, you are forming the right angle. See, there's my right angle between C, A, and B. And if I did it backwards from B to A to C, I'm still forming the right angle. Notice a good trick is all you have to do is look at the middle letter. See how A is in the middle of both of these? That's how you know it's talking about angle A. So usually I'll just say angle A, but on the STAR test, you know they like to be a little extra. A lot of times they will use the full name for the angle. So if they say CAB or BAC, just think of that as angle A. All right, so angle B is this acute angle up here. So another name for this angle would be ABC, because if you trace it from A to B to C, that makes angle B. And you could also say it backwards. Let me try to write with my finger, that'll be faster. CBA. So notice how on both of these, the B is in the middle. So that's a good hint to tell you that it's really just angle B. And then we got angle C down here. Looks like another acute angle. The full name for angle C could be ACB. C is in the middle. Or reverse it and call it BCA. It doesn't really matter. Alright, so now that you know all the different types of angles and how to name angles, now we are going to get into finding the angle measures. So this is what we just looked at in the video. The sum of the three angle measures in a triangle is 180 degrees. So if you add up the three angles, it's always going to be 180. And you can set up an equation to determine the missing angle measures. So we're going to try that down here. All right, number 1 says find the measure of angle C. So we can see that there's 32-degree angle and an 81-degree angle. We just need to find the missing one, so we can call that X. So pretty simple math. You just need to add up the angles that you have and subtract from 180 in order to get the missing one. So let's see, I'm just gonna write an equation like this. You could say 81 plus 32 plus x equals 180. And then let's see, 81 plus 32 is 113, and then 180 minus 113 is 63. And you can always double check your math and just make sure that 32 plus 81 plus 63 equals 180. So then right here where it says M, that just means the measure of angle C. So the measure of angle C is 63 degrees. All right, number 2, find the measure of angle F. So this time they give us the 45-degree angle, and then we need to know that the square means 90. So you can fill that in if you want. And then another way to write the equation, instead of like drawing it out like 90 plus 45 plus x equals 180, you can just combine the two angles together. So 90 plus 45 would be 135 plus x equals 180. That just makes it a little bit simpler. So then you can see in order to solve that equation, you would just do 180 minus 135, which is 45. So the measure of angle F is 45 degrees. All right, last one. Mark each statement below as true or false, then correct the false statement. Okay, let's see. Angle B and angle A are acute angles. I can say that is true because I see they're both less than 90. The equation 60.01 plus 52.4 plus x equals 180 can be used to find the measure of angle BCA. So remember, this is just talking about angle C. So, yep, that makes sense. I agree with that. All right, so this says the measure of angle BCA, or just the measure of angle C, is 144.75. That must be false, but we need to correct it. So let's see where they messed up. So step 1 would be to add the two angle measures, 60.01 plus 52.4, 112.41, I think, unless I can't even read my own handwriting. So if I'm wrong, don't worry about it. But let's see, whatever you got there, let's subtract it from 180. 112.41. All right, let's see, 6, 7, 0.59. Again, if I messed up the math, just trust your math, not mine. But if you're going to fix this statement, I'm going to rewrite it exactly how it said. So I'm going to say the measure of angle BCA is 67.59 degrees. All right, so that's basically all you need to know for today. Pretty simple stuff. There's one other thing I want to show you that's going to help you with your next assignment. All right, so let's say you come across something like this. Like, look at the red angle. See how it's a right angle? You see the little square, but it's split up. So it might look like it's split in half, but it's not perfectly split in half. You can see the bottom part's bigger than the top. So it's telling you the bottom part is 62 degrees. The top part is J degrees, so that's a mystery. If you want to find what J equals, you just have to do 90 minus 62, because it's a right angle minus the 62, and 28 is what's left. And then on this next one, you notice that it's a flat line. So according to the video I showed you before, a flat line is 180 degrees. So if you know that part of it's 118 degrees, the other part is x degrees, you just need to do 180 minus 118. And the missing part is 62 degrees. So I think there is a slide on your classwork where you're going to see something like this. All right, so your classwork slides are posted in Schoology. So I want you guys to work on those. I want you to submit them when you're done. You should be able to finish them in class. If you don't, I want you to submit what you got done anyways, just so I can see. And then whenever you finish, you can go up to my desk and the sub will give you a homework to start working on. All right, guys, I will be back tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out.